Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. The second half of our doubleheader. Our first broadcast obviously was inside the pigskin, and here we are talking some baseball. Let me introduce the crew here. First of all, Candy, welcome back.
Thank you, Scott. It's great to be here. Hi, guys.
And we got Jordan Long.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
You're very welcome. And Jeremy Ballrick gets to go ahead and make a rare appearance on this show, but I have good reason why I brought him on here tonight. Yeah, let's keep looking around there. Okay.
That's rarefied air, Jeremy.
Yeah, rarefied air.
It's almost as thin as the air the balls fly through up there at Colorado Rockies Stadium.
Ooh. Oh, Coors Field. Okay, just so you know, we got to get you up to speed on baseball. Glad to have you on the baseball show, Jeremy. You know that little thing.
Glad to be here. Okay, yeah, good. It's a little white ball. It's about a third of the size of a football.
Right, exactly. Or we call
not
it
even.
Maybe an eighth.
A third might be the softball.
Oh, that's what it is. I'm sorry. I get
put this guy into a geometry situation. We'll never get to the topics because I don't pretend to know anything about math, and I never will. And last but not least, one of the authors on this crew, George Eichhorn.
Oh, hi, everybody.
There you are. Good to be here. All right, well, everybody know today we're talking about baseball by the numbers. And when I talk about baseball by the numbers, if there's one sport out there that is predicated on numbers, we've talked about steroid use, tainting them, it is baseball. So I'm going to go ahead and mention something. I got a MLB on Fox where there's currently 5 players with 100-plus RBI this season. And we're going to ask you who else will join the 100 club in 2023. Let's talk about those that are in the 100 club. Mattolson with 127 RBI, petealonso 103, mookiebetts 103, kyletucker 103, adolisgarcia for Texas, okay, with 100. So for those of you familiar with the Astros, that's where Kyletucker is from. I'll tell you about the rest of them, but I will. Betts with the Dodgers, Alonso with the Mets, and Olsen with Atlanta. Now, who could join these guys? Number one, let's talk about Max Muncy of the Dodgers, sitting at 97. Juliorodriguez of Seattle at 97. Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Braves, 95. Shoheiohtani, I wonder where his name was going to come up. It is here with 95. kyleschwauber of the Phillies, which Candy and I have seen all too many times with 94. And Justin Turner of Boston with 94. But that said, you know what, Candy, we're going to lead off with you.
I think all of them could. I think that's very doable. I mean, you're talking 94, so you're talking 6 away, and you're talking how many games left. I think they all could do it.
20 days and probably 15 games.
I think all of them. That's nice.
Okay. All right, Jordan.
I have to agree with Candy. I mean, you look at it, some of them are 3 to 6 away or 7. I mean, there's still plenty of baseball left. I think they're all going to end up with over 100 RBIs batted in.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, all right, Jeremy, it's your turn.
I pretty much just said what I had to say. There's 20 days left in the season, which means a minimum of 15 games. They all can get in because you're talking about one every other game is all they got to do.
Last but not least, George.
Yeah, that's an easy one for me, too. If they stay healthy, I think they all can do it. The sad part is you won't find a Detroit Tiger among those. Although a hats off to Torkelson, who leads the team in home runs and RBIs. But yeah, Scott, I think those guys that you mentioned, as the pennant races intensify even more, the wild card chases, I think all those guys in the 90s should be able to hit the magical 100 RBI.
Well, the reality is you're only 6 away from this group getting in there. But you know what? It's still worth talking about how many have actually reached the 100 mark versus how many more can get there. I think that's the most intriguing part about these sets of numbers. And again, you're only talking a half a dozen away, with the last one here being Justin Turner on the list, kyleschwauber. We know he can get RBIs in a bunch because he's a home run hitter in the first place. So, all right, well, we're getting you started off on an easy note. But now let's go on to the next one. The last 5 times a player reached 50 home runs in a single season. Now, this is a really interesting list as well, okay? And Matt Olson joined that number yesterday. So I want you guys to predict how many that he'll hit. But we're going to start off listing the names of these individuals. Mattolson has 50, obviously in 2023. Aaron Judge, 62, 2022, a year ago. Petealonso, 53 in 2019 of the Mets. Aaron Judge again makes the list, 52 in 2017. And Giancarlostanton got 59, but not with the Yankees, but the Miami Marlins, okay? So how many bombs will Matt Olson hit? Candy?
He has how many games left? I'm going to say
approximately 15.
18. I
say-
think I don't know if he's played in every game so far, but
I'm going to say he's going to hit 3 more.
What about you, Jordan?
I'll go with at least 53. I think the high amount for him is 55.
Okay, fair enough. Jeremy? Making him think on this one, are we, Jeremy? Or are we making
Might be
him
a little
think
frozen, maybe.
on this one? Yeah, that's okay. I know he got frozen when I threw the question in his way. All right, we'll go on to George until Jeremy takes the David Copperfield out of his vocabulary and reappears. All right, George. go
they're
ahead.
on a roll right now, Atlanta. I'm going to give him 57, Scott. 57 home runs.
Right. Okay, I'm going to go 55.
Okay.
And Jeremy, well, we'll come back to it later. So, on the last night on Fire Up Wisconsin, we talked about CraigCouncell, right? And well, now we know he'll have to get another connection, but we'll preface it until he gets back on here. Okay, CraigCouncell, will he sign or re-sign with the Milwaukee Brewers? And I guess that's a question we're going to probably mention in about a moment. But the worst kept secret became a reality today as the New York Mets are hiring David Stearns as president of baseball operation. There you go. Baseball operations. A 38-year-old Manhattan native is the first to hold this position and is heading home. GM Billy Epler is the second in command, and this job actually starts in October. But the Mets were denied permission by the Brewers in 2021, and then of course Stearns resigned in 2022, and now he'll be back later. So, with that thought, Candy, what are your thoughts about the recent developments in Milwaukee?
David Stearns has been on he's been a consultant for the Brewers this last year. He was their GM from 2015. He stepped down in 2022. In 2021, New York wanted to talk with him, wanted to interview him. The Brewers said no. Then he quit in 2022, but then he came back as a consultant this year. It is no surprise that he is going to the Mets. That's his dream job. He grew up, that was his team. So that doesn't surprise me. Now, does that affect CraigCouncell? That I'm not sure of. CraigCouncell has 3 young kids, and I shouldn't say young. They're playing ball, and he wants to spend more time with them. He wants to see them play. I don't see him leaving the Brewers for another job, at least not another manager job. Would he consider maybe a GM job, maybe a baseball operations? Yes, maybe, but I know he wants to spend more time with his family. So I think if he doesn't stay with the Brewers, it's because he wants to be with his family.
Hi, guys.
I don't think a manager job someplace else.
All right, Jeremy's back. I just want to give us a home run total for Matt Olson, and you can comment on it since we talked about it last night.
Well, I was in the same spot as Jordan was, in the 3 to 5 range. I think he'll get between 53 and 55 because he averages about a home run every 3 games.
Okay, that's fair enough. All right, so we're all basically in the range. We figure we'd get up to about 5 or so, and that's about it. But he's still in that elusive club. Now, back to what Candy's talking about, okay? And that's this. You know about David Stearns, obviously moving to the New York Mets. That job starts in October. you talked about a little bit about Councell's future. What are your thoughts about the whole developments in Milwaukee? That obviously Stearns goes home, but we don't know whether Councell is staying home either with the Brewers or with his family. Give me your input on that.
Well, with what I read, it looks like he wants to spend more time with his family, with his grandchildren and his young kids that are playing college and semi-pro ball. So I get that if he does, but if he wants to stay as a coach, it'll be in Milwaukee.
Okay. Seems fair. All right, Jordan.
Well, with Craig Councell, I mean, you always want to stay home with your family when you're playing 162 games a year. It's really hard to do that. Could I see him stepping away? Sure, to watch his children play baseball, or his two sons anyway. But I don't think he's going to go anywhere else. It's either going to be in Milwaukee or he's going to go watch his kids. I don't think there's any other way around it. He'll either be a manager with the Brewers next year or he's just going to step down, take time off.
Okay. I asked George.
Yeah, when I saw that headline, I thought, oh my God, they brought back David Stern from the dead, the former NBA commissioner. All kidding aside, it was a good move for the Mets. We saw it in Detroit. They hired a young, brash, young guy from the San Francisco Giants named Scottharris.
So now the Mets when I heard,
Mets are trying to do the same thing. But there are a lot of sharp young men and women in baseball that deserve promotions. As far as Craig Councell goes, yeah, I agree. I mean, I saw what it did to Alan Trammell. I saw what it did to Kurt Gibson. There comes a point where you say, you know what? Enough's enough. I don't want to be in the big leagues. I don't want to be coaching anymore. I don't want to be managing. I want to just take it a little bit easy. Tigers have been very nice in their situation to former stars like Gibson, Horton, Jim Leyland, Alan Trammell, and they gave them all cushy jobs called assistant to the president or special assistant to the general manager. I see the same thing happening for Craig Councell if he elects not to stay on. He's a good guy, though. Good guy, good manager. I'm sorry, Jeremy.
I just wanted to say, when I heard Daniel Stern, I didn't think of David Stern. I thought of that guy that played as Joe Pesci's Mook in Home Alone.
Oh.
We have a Home Alone reference on this show. Okay,
and it had nothing to do with Joe Burrow looking like Macaulay Culkin.
No, I can only imagine. Keeping on point here a little bit, I'm happy that Stearns gets to go to the Mets. This is something that's been 3 years in the works. He had to just set out his contract and do what he had to do. When it came time to go, it's probably, as I said, it was the worst kept secret on the planet. Now he gets to go back. And Billy Epler will be the number 2 man, but Steve Cohen knows that it wasn't easy for him to have to trade Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer, and they had definitely one of those situations where you traded superstars, you had high expectations, and all of a sudden, what do you end up having here? A disappointing season. And I think that Stearns is the right guy to navigate through this transitional period. So Steve Cohen definitely made a very shrewd executive hiring, and they're keeping Billy Epler in the building. Anybody else want to add to that?
I think it makes for a very interesting time in Milwaukee, considering they're having stadium issues and funding and trying to find funding to renovate and bring that ballpark back up, doing the repairs, and with Craig Councell and Stearns all leaving. And we're in the middle of we're trying to win the division and stuff like that. So I think it's a very interesting time for Brewer fans.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. Right now, you're dealing with a contentious situation where, I think Stearns is going to make the move anyways, but this situation did not help matters at all. It really didn't. But this move could have happened in 21 long before the stadium issues were actually brought to the forefront. But to add and yet, mind you, the Brewers are on their way towards clinching the division. I don't know what the scores of the Marlins game now, but they clobbered the Marlins 12-0 last night.
3-1, top of 8.
Milwaukee's leading Miami.
Correct. Yes, it's
Oh,
a
well.
middle of 8, 3-1 Brewers winning so far.
Okay, well, very good. So,
But I
Get
also
it.
think if Council does leave, that this will make for an interesting who they go after and who wants to come to Milwaukee, knowing that right now we're in the middle of a stadium issue, and with Stearns leaving. So I it's not like Milwaukee's normally a very how should I say this? A destination
Attractive.
place. It's not a sales, there's state income tax, there's cold winters, not that they have to live there in the winter and stuff like that, but I think it just makes for very interesting who might be interested in the role if Craig does step down.
Well, you never know, though. They could go to an internal hire. One name I've heard mentioned out there, Jordan, maybe you can confirm it. Pat Murphy, is he a guy that I think they're looking into? I don't know. But, when you have a hard time finding an outside candidate and you want to keep continuity going, you can always stay with an internal candidate as well. I mean, that's something that we'll play out and we'll monitor the situation. Right now, the Brewers, let's not kid yourself, they're having a dynamite year. And last year at the trade deadline, everybody gave him a hard time dealing Josh Hader. I don't think, look where the Padres are now versus where the Brewers are a year later. And all of a sudden, those moves don't look that bad at all, do they? So it'll be interesting to play out. It really is. So I would, if Council leaves, I really do have a gut feeling that we could be looking at an internal candidate in Milwaukee. Of course, Jeremy and Candy will give you updates on Fire Up Wisconsin. And what I want Jeremy and Candy to do while we have you both on the line is, Jeremy and Candy, why don't you give the audience an idea of what you two are looking to get out of Fire Up Wisconsin? This is an opportunity to talk about your show.
Well, we are just basically trying to make people more educated about Wisconsin sports, whether it be the Wisconsin Badgers, Milwaukee Brewers, Milwaukee Bucks, and of course that
Green Bay
green
Packers.
and yellow team that wears Waste Management colors. Green Bay Packers. But other than that, it's going to be a show that's informative. We're going to hit the hard-hitting topics. I mean, like right now with what they got injury-wise, with Mark Canha going down with that wrist, if he has to miss time, Yelich is still on the 20-day list with 20 days left of baseball. And then they also lost they got somebody that might be coming back soon, which will be good. But Mark Canha was hitting .390 batting average with men on base. That's a huge loss to that team right now. Garrett Mitchell is nearing game action pending clearance. He's also already been on his AAA Nashville. The Sounds regular season runs through September 24th, so he can be called up just in time to be on the playoff roster. But if he gets put on that 14-day DL for Canha, that means it's not a major injury, but if his rehab's going bad and he has to hit it again, he's unavailable for the playoffs.
Anything you want to add, Candy?
So Fire Up Wisconsin. We talk about all things Wisconsin. Yes, the majority of it is sports, but we also talked about the stadium and Fiserv Forum and some of the businesses that are downtown. I know we, on a previous episode earlier before Jeremy was on it, we talked about Summerfest, which is one of the largest music festivals that comes to our downtown. And the downtown area has a different ethnic festival every weekend during the summer. We have Mexican Fiesta, we have Irish Fest, we have German Fest. So we talk about a lot of different things. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So come on over and watch us Monday nights.
There
Yes,
you have
ma'am.
it. Okay. Well, one other thing I want to get to, everybody have an opportunity for parting shots. Report that the Angels would be willing to entertain a trade with Miketrout if indeed he asks out. Candy, some thoughts about Miketrout?
Good player, near I would say seasoned player. Let's put it that way. He's been around for a while. If he wants out, I can understand. Let him. We've seen all kinds of trades and big trades with some of the teams in football and some of the big trades that we never thought we would see. Let's face it, Justin Verlander, we wouldn't have thought the Mets would get him, and yet look at what it happened to them. So just because you get some of these big name players does not mean you're necessarily going to have instant success. And that's something you have to remember, because let's face it, the Brewers, I would say there aren't a lot of big name players on that team right now, but yet we're fighting for the division. I think it'll make for interesting baseball depending on where he goes. There's always been rumors. There's been rumors about Shohei and what is he going to do and is he going to stay? So I think it'll be an interesting offseason.
Jordan.
Well, you look at Mike Trout. I mean, he's been with Los Angeles since 2011. He's been loyal to them. The only thing is, though, they've only made the playoffs once. And it just shows you that they're not a winning baseball organization. If Trout really wants to go somewhere to win a ring, it's not going to be in LA. So you might as well see what the trade value is. Plus, he has 7 more years on that contract. So wherever he goes, it's not going to be a 1 or 2 year deal. It's going to be 7 years that you're locked in for.
All right. Mike
Jeremy.
Trout, fantastic player the last 12 years. Done really good in the regular season. The problem with Mike Trout is they haven't had a good enough team to win a playoff game around him. They don't have enough support in that lineup. And the pitching, outside of their top 3, it gets abysmal after that. So that's why they struggle to make the playoffs. That's why they struggle to win when they do get there. Mike Trout is not the reason they lose in the playoffs, but it doesn't look good when the rest of the team fails.
George.
Yeah, Jeremy stole my thunder. I was going to say the same thing. Don't blame Mike Trout. It's the supporting cast. And like you guys said, I mean, he's given it plenty of time for it to click with the Angels, and it hasn't happened. Now, I'm telling you right now, I'll go on record to say if they lose both Ohtani and Trout, good luck trying to sell season tickets next year in Anaheim. Good luck, because you have ruined 2 of the best prizes that you've got.
Yeah.
The Angels have. And I know they cost a lot of money. I know that. And maybe that's part of the reason why you can't get more better pitchers there, because of the lack of salary space. But I don't blame Mike Trout at all. He can be a winner. He is a winner. And whatever team he goes to is going to be so much better because of him. He's given them a lot. He's given them his heart and soul all these years. And I know that, they're going to be sad. They're going to rue the day when he says goodbye, and it could happen.
Yeah, the problem with Mike Trout is durability has been his biggest difficulty. It really has. When you sign a long-term contract, we know that was about Miguel Cabrera. You hope and pray as you go deeper into that contract that it doesn't bite you. It does. But you had Mike Scioscia left. Joe Madden attempted to try to win there. It wasn't an easy situation. And let's face it, pitching has always been a thorn in the side for the Angels. And I'll tell you, one of my biggest thrills of seeing Trout and Ohtani was when I had a chance to talk to Don Mattingly about the two. And let me tell you, to see those two on the field and Don Mattingly talking about it last year over at Lone Depot Park was unbelievable. But these two, to me, are class. It's just question is, can they go out there? And then you have to ask what teams can go out there and add them. At the time in Miami, Jared Jeter was in charge, and he found a taker with the Yankees to take Giancarlostanton off their hands, and they didn't do that badly on either end of the trade. But now what happens with Mike Trout? Where does he go? Who can afford him? And their injury risk. But there's no question, like you say, George, if those guys are no longer in Anaheim, the attendance will go down a lot more, and you wonder how long of a painful rebuild it could be, let alone the fact they haven't won in a long time and been to the playoffs for a while. So it's a very, very sticky situation.
Yeah.
And this is a tough time in sports because we rarely see a lot of players start and finish their career in one spot.
Very rare
and that's
now.
the thing. Yeah, Jeremy, you want to add to that?
There is one team that has enough cap under the luxury tax to get them. Scottharris, make the call. Get them both. You take the worst pitcher out of the starting rotation and put Shoheiohtani in. Miguel Cabrera retires and he steps in as DH. And then bring in Mike Trout to replace our worst outfielder.
Okay.
It's
that's-
interesting.
Yeah,
I like it.
Because the supporting cast isn't bad. We don't have any true power bats. You get those two in the lineup. Wow. And you can rotate Miketrout and give him enough rest because of players like Akil Baddoo, because of Kerry Carpenter. You can rotate him in and out as you needed to keep him healthy.
good idea.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. There's perception and there's reality. And remember one thing, Jeremy, okay? I have to give you a little geography lesson, okay? And I think a lot of people can appreciate where I'm coming from. What major amusement park is located in Anaheim?
Disney, I know.
Disneyland, not Disney.
I just said
And
Disney.
all right, well, whatever. I like Disneyland because I like the older version of it. Anyways, Disney World is here in Orlando. So we're talking about Mike Trout and Shoheiohtani playing in Disneyland, and everybody else will be looking at those contracts as called Disneyland because you wonder how much it could have cost them. So I could help.
There's 80 million. We still got 10 million to get role players. I'm good with it. Let's go.
All right. Well, I like these are the kind of comments we like. Let's right, Jordan. I mean, what do you think? You think the Detroit Tigers would be a good fit for the?
Yeah, I'm going to set up a meeting. Jeremy and I are going to go visit Scottharris.
The
Right
problem
now,
is
let's
that Mike Trout wants to be on a winning team. I mean,
you don't
Detroit
think this would be a winning team? Detroit has been holding at third place in this division, which is a bad division the whole time. You put Trout and Ohtani on here, this team wipes the floor with Minnesota because we almost won the series against them this year already.
fair enough. I don't know. Detroit, it's a good baseball town, but I just see them going to either like the Dodgers, the Mets, or the Yankees. Just something tells me because of the money that they can make there. Not saying that they can't make it in Detroit. It just feels like that's where they're going to end up.
It feels like they're going to end up, but what I'm saying is there actually is that cap room under the luxury tax to afford them. And whereas the Steinbrenners and the Mets have both learned that overpaying for players to buy a championship doesn't always work.
Yeah, but you got to remember you got Hal Steinbrenner versus George Steinbrenner. George Steinbrenner would buy him tomorrow. Hal Steinbrenner is a little bit more thrifty with the Bucks. I mean, I know what George Steinbrenner is like, and my meetings with him were pretty interesting. But I learned a lot, and I know that the thing I learned about the boss is don't ever ask him about managers, or he's gonna give it to you, and you're not gonna like it. But it was still a good experience. All right, Jordan. We have you tongue-tied here, okay? Are you amused with Jeremy's opinion, or are we going to get some sort of a response out of you?
I got nothing. I'm just going to, he is right. They have room in the luxury tax, so that's all that matters. You can get them at a great price and still have money left over to get more players, then so be it.
But you know what, Jordan? As much as I am from Motown, I still see Ohtani or Trout or both going to the Dodgers. I do. The Dodgers, they have no problem. They can afford anybody they want. And remember, they cleared some salary out during the offseason with the intent they might be able to land one or two of these guys.
I say on that.
You what?
I say on that.
I'm sure you would. Obviously, the old Mitten State bias. I get it. I have no problem. I see a guy named Michigan Go Blue 1234 in the chat room. Don't know what he's trying to tell me, but thanks for being in there. Anyways, Michigan Go Blue 1234. Okay, we'll see whether you can get number 3 this weekend. And who do they have this weekend?
Another
Bowling
nobody.
Green. Bowling Green.
Bowling Green. All right.
Yeah.
A real big
Bowling
opponent.
Green, Kentucky.
Real tough game.
Oh, real tough game. We might win it by only 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if I told you where I was going Thursday night, the Miami Hurricanes and the Bethune-Cookman, I think Wildcats. Oh, my
They're playing Bishop Sycamore.
goodness.
HBCU, isn't it?
Who, Bethune?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was joking. Yeah, they're an HBCU. And some of those teams come back and surprise these upper teams.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're talking baseball, but I have to tell you, I was impressed with the Hurricanes win over Texas A&M on Saturday. That was a really straight win, and I was really, I mean, the Canes got some respect with Mario Cristobal, but to me, when you cover all the games, you cover the good, the bad, and the ugly, and Miami of
All I got to
Ohio
say
was
about college football is hook 'em horns.
yeah, well,
Hey, they
I
took
can
out
see what.
Alabama. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it was. Well, let's stay on point, Jeremy. Okay.
Yeah.
I realize that I probably took us off a little bit talking a little college football because of Bethune-Cookman of where I was going to go Thursday night and realize that we have to give them a little love here for Texas A&M. But the reality of the situation is this. I'm going to go really back to what Jordan Long said. I do believe the most likely destination for Ohtani and Trout, if either or both were to go, would be the Dodgers, Southern California. Anybody beg to differ on me?
No,
well, you've already.
I'm not saying that. I just hate it.
Well, I think you've made that point very visibly and verbally clear. So with that said, why don't we go with parting shots, and you can tell me the other things, Jeremy, you like or hate. Well, we'll go ahead and start off with Jeremy since he is not chomping at the bit at parting shots.
Well, it's been a great week for Michigan sports. The Tigers have shown signs of life and being able to tread water and stay above the other two teams below them in the division. Granted, it's a bad division, but they've been middle of the road this whole time. I like what I'm seeing out of Detroit. With Milwaukee, it's going to be harder without Canna in that lineup to win games. I hope it's nothing serious and he doesn't have to go on the DL at all. That would be a huge blow to the Brewers' offense right now. I hope they do get the other guy back that's coming up. But Yelich is on the 20-day DL list, and it looks like he's going to miss the rest of the season, which means he misses the playoffs.
Okay. George?
Well, it's a real source of pride for me tonight as my son-in-law took the field at Comerica Park as they honored first responders. Special day ceremonies before the game, and my son-in-law, Alan, who was a firefighter in Medicine Heights, was one of those honored on the field. So we're all proud, the Eichhorn family and his family as well, the Rudder family. So we are really proud of you, Alan, and all of our firefighters and all our paramedics, all of the cops. And I'm also proud of you, Scott, and you, Candy, for that nice thing you did yesterday. That was very nice on your shows, the moment of silence. So I want to thank you guys for doing that. And again, salute all our men and women and protecting us from such tragic things that happened on 9/11. But thanks, guys, for remembering yesterday, too.
I appreciate it, George. Thank you very much. Candy, well done on the back end. All right. Jordan, what's your parting shot?
Well, you look at the Colorado Rockies, they're winning right now over the Chicago Cubs, but they're 8 losses really away from 100 losses for the season for the first time in franchise history. My question, and this is to the front office, will we see any changes if you get 100 losses? You're probably at the bottom of the barrel in terms of Colorado sports. Of course, the Nuggets and the Avalanche are 1A and 1B. I'm going to put the Broncos at 3 and you're last. So if you want fans to come back, make some changes because the hardcore baseball fans are staying away from the yard. Will 100 losses make any changes? I really don't know because the Rockies seem to stand pat. But please make some changes if you get 100 losses.
Candy?
Oh, my beloved Milwaukee Brewers took it to the Miami Marlins again today. They won 3-1. That's final.
Huh.
Kudos to them. But what I'm going to say is to all of those congressmen, the stadium district, who you need to make sure you get a deal done to make the repairs to Miller Park. Miller Park is a gem. It is a guaranteed game no matter what the weather is. And a lot of the parks around don't have that luxury. Detroit doesn't have that. Wrigley doesn't have that. It can be an outdoor stadium, but yet it's an indoor stadium with that retractable roof. Yes, that cost a lot more money to build, but you built it. And now you have guaranteed fans in the stands because people will make trip from up state Wisconsin because they know that they're guaranteed a game. We were talking last night on Fire Up Wisconsin that they've hosted other teams in there when they had problems with their stadiums. It is a gem of a park. And I'm not just saying that because I got married there. I truly like that park. I truly like the fact that it has a retractable roof so that they can play in the rain. They can cool it down a little bit. Whatever Milwaukee needs to do, you lost a team once. Do not lose Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, because didn't the owner say if they're not going to make the repairs, he will move the team?
I think I had heard that at one point. I think he's kind of retracted some of that because I think he realizes what he has there, but only time will tell.
Okay. I have a unique shout out tonight. I want to congratulate Jason Latimer, who I work with the Miami Marlins and their communications department, for his new role up in St. Petersburg area, being the director of public relations for them and leaving the Marlins. Not because I wanted to leave the Marlins, but Jason's been a big help for me. I met up with him on LinkedIn, and I say LinkedIn, and I didn't know anybody through LinkedIn, and he got me on the mailing list, and he was always great to me when I covered games with the Marlins. So, you talk about one of the nicer, more professional guys out there. I hate to see a lot of the people I've gotten to know real well, but he was so interesting when he talks about trading baseballs for beaches, taking the ultimate communicator, whatever this guy is, because he's good. And of course, always go down. He'll never forget me because of the time that I went out there and asked Don Mattingly that famous question about the too many no-hitters in the game of baseball that went viral. It'll be another story. And I'm not taking credit for a new piece of technology that I'll learn, but Jason, to me, is one of the classiest PR people you'll ever meet. It just goes to show you that sometimes when you work in the game of baseball, you can work 15, 20 hours a day. You don't have a lot of time with your family. I know Jason had another role in the St. Petersburg, Clearwater area, but now he's working for the tourism department promoting beaches. So, Jason, I don't know if you will ever hear this or not, although I did reach out to him on LinkedIn and he liked what I had to say. But Jason, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be as proud as I am to cover the Miami Marlins. I know that when I got re-involved again, he was open and gave me whatever I needed. And, when I talk about some of the great PR people that I've worked with in over 40 years, Jason, you will always have a special place in my heart. Candy, you can tell the audience that what type of a person Jason is. You've seen him and I talk a lot, how friendly he is, right?
He's a great guy. And unfortunately for us, we won't be able to work with him as much because we don't work with, but it's good to see somebody get promoted and doing what he wants to do and getting the job that he wants to. I can only imagine being a PR person for a major league team, how stress and how much time commitment that is, as opposed to going to the beach. But Scott, can I have one more parting shot?
Yeah, but I want to mention one thing about Latimer. Okay. When you talk about 15 to 20 hours a day, let's not kid yourself. Baseball in Miami and that particular area by the Orange Bowl is a tough sell. I will always say this until I can't talk anymore. That stadium shouldn't have been built there. It should have been in a far more accessible place. I know they were trying to cater to that specific cultural area. I get it. The Orange Bowl, the land was there, and they could do it. But you know what? Baseball in Miami is a tough sell. But Jason never complained about it at all. He went out there and gave it everything he's got. And I can tell you right now, he's hooked me up with some other assistants that have been good. But he was my first contact into the Marlins organization. And with that said, your first contact, I feel, is the one who laid the groundwork for other things. So, Jason, once again, congratulations. I'm going to miss you, but I hope and pray that you're able to work regular hours so you can have family time and do what you want to do. I'll never forget you and always be thankful for you. God bless, Jason. Go ahead. There's your second parting shot, and then you can also finish off the broadcast, Candy.
So my second parting shot kind of goes off in what George had said. 9/11 was a horrible time for this country. But I wish we could get back to what 9/12 was like. I wish we could get back to respecting everybody, respecting everybody's opinion, going out there and being American. The love that this country showed for everybody was great. And I wish we could get back to that. I think that's what we're missing is the love and respect for everybody and their beliefs, because it's okay to believe something different than me. I respect you for that. But to disregard people like people have and not honoring, and I salute all the firemen, the policemen, the rescue, and I think we need more of that. Think we need more respect in this country. And so I wish we could get what it was like 9/12 of that year.
Well,
Amen.
I'll end it on that note. From my standpoint, I'm done talking to the show. Candy's going to do my talking for me with the company information. Great to be on here. It's a great show to have everybody on. And it's an opportunity to let everybody know about the work that Candy and Jeremy are going to do on Fire of Wisconsin. Jordan, what can I say? You're truly one of the best baseball people I have, and I'm glad that you're on here. And what else? I'm done talking. So that's it. Candy, take us home. Let everybody know how they get a hold. I'm done for the night.
Well, let's go around the room and we'll be the last ones. Jordan, how can everybody get a hold of you?
You can follow me at SportsScoop1 on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now. I have a blog that I write Mondays through Fridays at sports-scoop.com. I also have my own show, Under Review, which is my take on Colorado sports with a sprinkling of national sports stories as well.
George, how can everybody get a hold of you?
Well, they can get a hold of me under the South Florida Tribune. I write for the Motor City Tribune with great writers like Jeremy Ballrick and Scott Morgenroth. And I also have written a book called Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air. And Scott's in that book and so many other great Michigan sports broadcasters. And there's a link to that. Candy puts a link right at the end of my column. You'll see. So it links you back to Amazon to order a copy. You can reach me at gicorn@yahoo.com and Twitter X at SanGSports99. And also I'm active on LinkedIn under my name. And you can reach me here, obviously, on these great shows, 108 Stitches, Inside the Pigskin, Pundits Pundit, and Sports Exchange.
Jeremy, how can people get a hold of you?
Well, like George, I'm also at the Motor City Tribune under the SouthFloridaTribune.com website. You can also find me at Smokin' Jeremy B on Twitter, or X-Rated Films as it's called now. Or you can also find me right here on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel anytime Scott needs me, mostly on Fire Up Wisconsin and the Professor and Pupil. But I fill in whenever he needs another person to give an opinion on sports. Am I a little brash and unruly? Yeah, I am. But that being said, I also want to tell everybody thanks for watching and being in the chat for my channel, DC8091 and Michigan Go Blue 1234. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before, because that's the only way to make the world a better place.
You are listening to 108 Stitches Baseball Talk on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel, or you could be watching us on Facebook or LinkedIn. But we would love it if you would hit that red subscribe button. If you see it next to George Eichhorn, please hit it, share, like us, tell all your friends about it. And if you like football, come over and listen to Inside the Pigskin. Wednesday nights we do Sports Exchange. Thursday nights are normally Pundits Pundit. Monday nights Fire Up Wisconsin. We'll sprinkle in a No Limits here and there. Professor and the Pupil. Let's see, what am I missing, Scott? Any other shows?
Fire Up Michigan.
Fire Up Wisconsin, Fire Up Florida. You just never know when we'll put one of those up. You can go over to our South Florida Tribune YouTube channel, and if you want to catch any of the Hurricanes after their last win against Texas A&M, we have some videos up, including Coach Mario Cristobal and, of course, Tyler Van Dyke, their quarterback, and others. But if you have any show ideas, please email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you like our show, you can also listen to it if you like to listen to podcasts. You can find us on iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, or wherever you get your podcasts. We enjoy having you here. I'm normally behind the scenes, although Scott's been putting me in front of the screen quite a bit lately. So you just never know. But you can also just check out our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. I do take pictures, and you can see those. You can see Scott's writing up there he's previewing all these little tidbits, and then he's going to actually write a book, and it's going to be published. So stay tuned for details on his book. Scott, take us the rest of the way home.
All right. Well, you know what? I won't lose my voice because of the way you do things. You're unbelievable. Yeah, no, you did a good job summarizing it all. So, with that said, good job as always to our baseball crew and all the loyal people that work with us. We do the best we can to try to put you in front of a lot of things. We also, coming up tomorrow night, we're going to pundit by the Sports Exchange. I know George Eichhorn, you're going to be busy with the Polish Hall of Fame. So why don't we'll give you an opportunity really quickly before we sign off to promote that event ahead of time. Let them know that we hope they have a great event.
Oh, well, thank you, Scott. Yeah, the 50th golden anniversary of the Polish Hall of Fame is Wednesday and Thursday night. And thanks to great supporters like Lonnie Morganroth from the Black Rock Restaurant. We appreciate his help, Blue Cross Blue Shield. There's a number of other sponsors. We're thankful. And we're getting guys coming back. Greg Landry is coming back. Frank Tanana is coming in. Peaches Barkowitz is coming in. Steve Jabby, the former NBA referee, is coming in. And so many other, these are all past inductees. So all the inductees were invited back for the 50th gala. And tickets, I think, are still available. If you want, you could just send me an email and I'll respond to you, gieichhorn@yahoo.com. It's Thursday night in Troy at the American Polish Cultural Center. Homemade Polish dinner and great. I forgot to tell you, John Paul Morosi is the MC and Ann Myers Drysdale is our keynote speaker. So great people are coming to that. Thank you, Scott, for letting me put in a couple words for it. Appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Again, I am a voter, so why not go out there and promote something that we both are involved in? So,
thank you.
All right, with that said, this concludes this edition of 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. A little tongue-tied there. Then again, what we expect to get it anyways. But today's show is Baseball by the Numbers, and we hit you with a lot of interesting ones earlier. On behalf of Candy Ebling, Jordan Long, Smoking Jeremy B., and George Eichhorn, my name is Scott Morgan, Roth, the Motor City Madmouth. Thank you for joining us on this edition of 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. And the one thing that Andy did mention a little, no limits, and we're pleased to have Jennifer Cobb, the former St. Louis Rams cheerleader, who participates a couple times a month addressing Parkinson's disease. I want to get that out there too. So with that said, that's it for us tonight. We will see you next week on the same station. Good night, everyone.